Fight Show episode 10, live on the interwebs. Presented by Pull No Punches Apparel 717 Surplus. What's up, Bob?
How you doing, bud?
Well, and I know what happened. I figured it out now. You came into the stream tonight and had no mic, no sound issues.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you jinxed it. So, unfortunately, we had Brent Primus, number 4 lightweight in Bellator, former Bellator champ, and the guy on the other end of all that bullshit that happened with Usman Nurmagomedov the other week, Khabib's brothers. So, unfortunately, no Brent Primus tonight. Apologize for the false information. We had a scheduling conflict. There's a time zone difference. There's a bunch of stuff going on with the champ. Probably going to bring him in next week. We'll figure that out when time comes. But back to, we've had guests a couple weeks in a row, so it's just back to me and you, Bub.
Yeah, we'll keep it low key for this week. You know, Brett was
just
stuff.
Fucking hang out. Still recovering from Thanksgiving, dealing with all these asshole shoppers. It's like as soon as I don't know how it is over there by you, but as soon as Thanksgiving hits around here, for the next 6 weeks, nobody knows how to fucking drive.
Well, I only live a mile and a half away from work, and I stay to myself, so I don't. And thank God for Amazon. I don't have to. We live in a day and age where we can do all our Christmas shopping on Amazon, and they bring it right to your porch, man. I'm from the old school where you used to have to go to the store and actually buy the shit you wanted. It's horrible.
Well, in lieu of that, we're going to scrap 2 pages of all the stuff that we were going to talk about, and we'll bring it back next week. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully we can work Brent to schedule out with Brent. Nobody's fault, just kind of a time zone scheduling, traffic on the I-5. If you guys are tuning in to see Brent, excuse me, we're going to reschedule him very soon. Again, conflict, traffic, time zones, a little bit of everything. Nobody's fault. And we're always happy to hear from the champ when he wants to stop in. So
yeah,
apologize for that.
That's the thing that anybody watching is like the guests that we do have on the show, and we have some big ones coming up. I mean, really big. You kind of got to work it into their favor. You know, you don't want to interrupt anybody's. He's training right now and stuff, and we always appreciate any time they give us. And you know, you got to work around their fights and their wins, and when they're training, and you don't want to bug these guys. You know, I mean, it's when it works for them.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you look at, and again, we don't cover boxing a lot because I'm not a huge boxing fan, but if you word on this, the street was that Katie Taylor and Chantel Cameron just fought for like a title in Ireland, and she didn't do any media this time around, and people that she normally talked to were like, what? But she pulled it all together in one. So sometimes stuff happens, like I said, with Brent, everything going on over there in Bellator, the buyout and the future with them guys. Like, we definitely want to talk to him and bring him in, and we definitely will soon. So if you guys are dropping by for the first time, whatever, if you guys are in the stream and you have something to say, want a question for me or Bill, drop a comment. Fully interactive when we can help it. But so we'll pivot off that. We'll bring Brent in, like I said, whenever we can, and plenty of other fuckery going on in combat sports this week.
That's why we love it. We love the drama.
I know.
Love the drama, love the conflict.
This weekend, you got, if you're a boxing fan, Mick Conlan, Northern Ireland's fighting. I think Ryan Garcia's back this week. And, of course, BKFC and the King of Violence belt, Perry versus Alvarez. I'm excited for that. That's a 7 p.m. start time. 9 p.m. start time for us. The UFC in Austin is a 7 p.m. start time for the Eastern.
Is that I'm just for fans? Is that I'm seeing it all over my social media feed? That's tomorrow night, or is it next week?
BKFC? No, it's the second. It's the same night as the UFC. Day before the old boy's birthday.
No, I'm looking forward to that, man. Mike Perry, he was built for that, man. He was born for BKFC.
I don't know. It's one of them kind of cliche things that everybody says now, but it's he was born for it. You know, but he was like, there's not nothing really you can take away from it. He was. The homie Kai Stewart, friend of the show, shout out. I think the first, if I heard the stat right, first combat sports champion from Montana, which I don't know if that's actually makes sense because isn't Sean O'Malley from Montana. But anyways, shout out to the homie Kai Stewart. He's defending his strap this weekend. I just saw Rothwell got sick. He's out versus who I think the stat on that was like his first fight back in 10 years or something like that. Like he hasn't been doing anything from what I heard.
Who was Rothwell fighting? I recognize the name.
Todd Duffy.
Oh, that's right. The old UFC guy. Big old muscle bound guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember Todd Duffy. You know, he's better. Honestly, Todd Duffy was one of those heavyweights that just wanted to get in there and throw too. So he's better suited for this is a better platform for him.
Yeah, no, it's a good card. I know. Let me put, you know what? I just posted on Facebook. I'll just use my Facebook post. Way easier to find it that way. Did I find it? I don't know when I posted it. Right. Yeah, Jeremy Stevens is on this card. Let me pull it up. Hold on.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, Rothwell versus Duffy got canceled. They're gonna redo that in February. Christine Ferrer and Beth Rawlings is now the new co-main. Like I said, the homie Kai Stewart, shout out to him.
I'll tell you what, the first time I've heard through talks at the commission, I've heard that bare knuckle fighting is supposed to become legal here in Pennsylvania after the first of the year, and I know Dave Feldman had a lot to do with that. He's pushed for that for a long time. I'd really like to go to the first show whenever that is. You know, so.
I mean, it's a possibility.
I got a couple friends out this way that are they've done their time in MMA. They want to be done with MMA and they're looking for something new to get excited about. And their resume is definitely good enough to. They said they'd like to be on that bare knuckle card, so I can go out and support a few friends. Man, maybe you and I and the ladies can roll up.
I mean, we have options now. You got the plug with David Feldman. We can cash that ticket in. You got the plug there, or we can just get these media passes now. I mean, that's I guess the glory of doing all this.
Yeah. Right.
We don't just do it for the love of the sport. Now I'm fucking around. No, I'm excited to see Jeremy Stevens back in it. A lot of newer face like names I recognize, but I can't place off the top of my head. But no, that's this weekend. The UFC's this weekend, and then of course there's two major boxing cards. Good evening, Christine. Thanks for tuning back in. So yeah, like I said, we're kind of just taking it easy.
Let's look at that. Let's look at that December 2nd UFC card. There's a couple fights on there. I'm real interested in. My boy Sean Brady's on there.
Before we get into that, if nobody's heard, so you saw the Dana Full Send podcast, like the screenshots from it. Did you see that?
Which part?
The Holland versus MVP. Did you see that?
Yeah, leaked in the background and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it was great. It was
that would be.
And again, that's not finalized. There's still 15 fights on that card. If you look at the thing and count them off, there's still 15 fights. So in the history, I think at UFC, there's only been 2 15-fight cards or something like that. So the chances of all that stacking up and being the way it ends up is slim to none. Let me put this up here.
Go ahead and take our ugly mugs off. It's not an official bet, but I think MVP will give Kevin Holland all kinds of problems unless Kevin Holland tries to wrestle. If Kevin Holland tries to wrestle, that could be a pathway to success for him. But to stand with Michael Venom Page, I don't think Kevin Holland has the arsenal to keep him off him. So I think the UFC is looking to kind of highlight Michael Venom Page if they can, because he does have a very entertaining fight style. So.
Yeah, and we were looking at this, and as I go back, we were talking last week with Sandy. Remember we looked at this? There's some shuffling that's going on, and I can't remember what it was because I haven't checked this out since last week. But remember Clay Guida? We went all the way down just to see who was on the prelims, and Clay Guida was on the prelims.
Yeah.
Now he's on the main card, and Misha's topping off the prelims. So I don't know what other fight. I didn't hear anything off the top of my head. And Jalen Turner wasn't fighting somebody else on this card, was he? And then they just combined that.
No, Dan Hooker dropped out, and then I think Jalen Turner just.
Yeah, but for some reason now, Guida's. I remember Soriano Stoltzfus. And I remember Sean versus Clay at the end. I don't remember what it was. It's not important. But Clay was leading when we checked last week with Sandy. Clay was leading off the or topping off the prelims, and now he's on the main card. So something else happened. I don't remember what it was though. But yeah, Misa's about on the prelims. Like we said, Cody Brundage is fighting. Jakar Close is on the prelims. Joe Selecki, some notable names on the prelims if you're at least a casual fan. Veronica Hardy again. I'm excited to see her fight. But yeah, moving up to the main card. What do we got?
Okay, Soriano versus Stoltzfus. Stoltzfus was the guy. He made his way into the UFC. He was the guy Joey Pfeiffer was beating up on Dana White's Contender Series, and then Joey Pfeiffer, when Stoltzfus shot a takedown, Pfeiffer went to brace his arm, and I think he dislocated his elbow, and that was Joe Pfeiffer's, I believe, last quote unquote loss. And then they invited him back. Joe hasn't lost since. So, and Dustin was also the guy when Joe won his fight on Dana White Contender Series, hopped up, looked through the cage of Dana White, and screamed, "I want Stoltzfus." Now, obviously, I don't think he's ever going to fight Stoltzfus again because of their career paths right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, this could be one on the way out for Stoltzfus if he doesn't win. Drop him to 1-3 in his last,
Yeah, going back to 21. Gerald Meerschaert.
Oh, yeah, dude, I'll be honest with you. With Stoltzfus only having one win in the UFC, and what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 4 losses or 5 losses. Now he's 1-4 in the UFC. Yeah, he loses this one, he's done. So
yeah, 14-5 overall. I mean, he probably wants to make the best of this one. He's going
to have his hands full because Soriano was one of those guys off. He's one of those guys coming in. I would let's take a look at Soriano's record real quick. Yeah, like I said, I'm not dropping. He's minus 270, so it's not like I'm dropping some crazy knowledge that nobody knows. That Kopylov loss, that's forgivable. That guy's a monster. And then Soriano versus Maximov. Yeah, Stoltzfus has a fight. Brendan Allen, no shame in that loss. Dusko Tordovic, whatever his name is, I remember that. So yeah, I don't know. This is that's a decent one, but I think Soriano will get it done. I don't think Stoltzfus is quite UFC. Definitely not contender status, obviously. And then who else we got? Clay Guida versus Silva. Unfortunately, Clay Guida is going to have his hands all kinds of full.
Yeah. Also, generally speaking, and this is kind of like a casual statement, but he's from Brazil and his last name's Silva. So, and that doesn't always mean everything, but it's kind of like when you see a guy in the bar with cauliflower ears, that old fucking saying. No, Sean Brady, Kelvin Gastelum. I'm pulling for Sean on this one. You know what I'm saying? These guys, that whole squad out there, we're in their corner every time they're fighting.
Yeah. Sean Brady's down there at Marquez MMA with Joe Pfeiffer and Andre Petrosky down in Philly. Gastelum's been in there with some top dogs. Sean Brady fought Bilal Muhammad over in Saudi Arabia last time, and that I think he suffered his first professional loss. So this is his comeback. We'll see how he handles it. Sometimes a loss can light a fire under a guy's ass. So
yeah.
I'll tell you what, if it's a straight stand-up battle, if Brady can't get him to the ground, Gastelum's tough on his feet. We've all seen him fight.
Bill's bets. Add Sean Brady to your parlay. This is not financial advice. This is not financial advice. No, I'm excited, honestly, I'm excited to see Rob Font fight, man. He's just been – how many fights does Rob Font have he's been doing it for a minute.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, they're giving him a chance to shine here. Figueiredo's up that food chain. I'll tell you what.
If you look at the names, though, and this is like Rob Font, Sandhagen, Yanez, Cheeto, Aldo, Cody, he's not you. There's guys that you go down through, and if you're not real deep into the depth charts and what's going on here, it's like, who's this guy and who's that guy? But Rob Font's just fought some fucking people in his career that it's impressive. To even keep going. I mean, we're back into 2017, and he's just constantly. Matt Snell's not, and again, to say nobody's a slouch at this level, but like these guys are. There's guys you look at their records in the last 4 fights, you can't remember who that guy fought, and then there's guys that like Rob Font that you look at their records and I'm just scrolling randomly, babbling on. But you know what I'm saying.
Tell you what. I'll tell you an interesting fact. Can you name? Oh, you clicked on it. You're stealing my thunder. I was gonna say, try and name Davison. Name Davison Figueiredo's last 4 opponents.
He just fought Moreno not that long ago. Didn't he have 2? He had 2 fights with Moreno.
Keep going.
I'm clicking on it now because I can't keep all these
Moreno.
in my head. 3 fights in a row with Moreno. 4 fights. Oh no, that was the draw. That's right.
No, but that's 4 fights in a row with Brandon Moreno. I don't think that's ever been done before.
No, Benavidez. That might be a stat.
His last 4 opponents have been the same freaking guy. He's fought that guy for the last 2 years. That's awesome. I honestly don't think that's ever been done before.
No, 4 fights in a row.
We've seen 2 in a row. Might have seen a trilogy here and there that I can't quite remember. I don't think anybody's ever fought for. They're just happy to give him somebody new.
Which, you bring that kind of little fact stuff up. We get done with this since we're kind of improvising tonight. I'll show you something I stumbled on that's actually really awesome, and I think you'll appreciate it. Jalen Turner, Bobby Green.
I have no idea how that one's going to go. Bobby Green is tough as nails, and like I said, this is his last run at a title shot. If he's serious, he needs about 3 more wins. Maybe 4. A loss. Was he 38 years old? Bobby Green, 38, something like that. A loss at this stage in his career, probably. He's always a fan favorite. There's always going to be a spot for him. But if he's trying to get the belt, get the strap, he can't lose too many more fights. So.
Yeah, well, we said the same thing last time, and look what he did to Dawson. So we kind of had the same summary last time. All right, and we'll go up here, and I always screw his name up. Even I'll sit there 3 times a week and look it up, try and practice it, and I'll screw it up. Beneil Dariush, again, another guy who's just been around and doing the damn thing since before he had a little bit of gray up here on the top.
Yeah,
and,
he really only looked horrible against Charles Oliveira. Everybody else he held his own, and then he got the floor mopped with him with Charles Oliveira. So. A motivated Charles Oliveira.
Yeah. So, what are we thinking on this, Bill? What's your general consensus?
Scroll back down a little bit. Let me see. Oh, you mean on Dariush and Sarkarian?
Yeah,
I butchered his name. Man, those Armenian guys and those Russian guys and those Ukraine guys are something else, man. They're getting kind of hard to bet against. This is the right fight. Number 8 versus number 4 with number 8 surging and number 4 just off a loss. This is the right fight. Scroll up a little bit. Let me see he beat Ismagulov. He beat Silva. Okay. That's who's Gamrot.
Yeah, I couldn't remember when we went over this the other week. I couldn't remember where. I was like, I know I've seen him fight. I just couldn't remember which one. It was the loss to Gamrot that I saw.
Just off what I'm seeing. Did Sarkarian, did he beat Frivoli? Okay, he did beat Frivoli.
Yeah. It was a 3-round decision.
Scroll up a little bit more. Let me see who else he got. He really only got beat by Gamrot, right? Scroll up just a tiny bit more, please.
Yeah, I'm really.
Oh, yeah, no, this is the right fight. He's in there against a guy who's been in there with top dogs, So it's like.
Yeah, no, Beneil's not. He's again. We just talked about. He's one of them records that.
Yeah, bet that one at your own risk. Yeah, bet that one at your own risk. I mean, I know MMA math doesn't work, but Dariush beat Gamrot, and Gamrot beat Zarkurian, so.
Scott Holtzman when he was still around, you know what I'm saying? Like Benil's, there's Jakar Close.
Mm-hmm. Frank
Again,
Camacho.
just Dober.
Scroll up. Let me see. Please. Let me see. Dariush last 2 or 3. Gamrot. Yeah, he really only looked bad he looked horrible against Oliveira, but Oliveira's obviously great.
Yeah, and he had the win against Tony, it's Tony, the Ferguson by name, but that's kind of where we're at with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where we're at. Let me pull this up quick. I wanted to show you this because I stumbled across these 2 sites. And if they're UFC sites, it's not anything special. I need to just find them.
Show me what you found. Let's see.
Like I said, once I pull it up here, we're kind of just winging it live on the internet, so we don't give a shit. But
yeah, wow me.
Let me again, anybody that's tuning in, Brent Primus, we apologize for all the false advertisement, quote unquote. Brent, we had some scheduling stuff, time zone stuff, traffic, training from the gym. There was a couple things going on, so we're going to get him here in the next couple weeks. Let me pull up one more bill. Actually, it's 2 parts of the same site, but I bookmarked them separately, and they're buried at the bottom here. Give me 1 sec.
Okay.
Oh, shit. Yeah, so I should be able to do it like this. I'm going to bring this back up. So UFC has their own and I stumbled upon it. I couldn't navigate to it, so I bookmarked it. But UFC has this whole record book because I was involved with a fuckery argument the other day with some clowns on the internet about all the records that Khabib has. And I'm like, you know what? I know there's a thing for this, and I found it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, just for example, you go to the lightweight, and it'll give you down here on the side, it gives you all the metrics. So title fights, wins, finishes, KOs, submissions, so when they're throwing these little stats up on the screen,
wow,
this guy's, you got cool. the whole thing to do it. And that's the other day I posted it on it when you commented on it, Isaac Valley Flag. Anybody that's been an MMA fan for more than, I don't know what, 5 years, he did some bare knuckle stuff too. I think he was around for a time out there, out in the desert, New Mexico training. He's been around. He still holds a record. I think it was from 2014. He didn't even know he had it. But yeah, so this is kind of cool just for anybody that wants to dig in. There's this one, there's the record books, and then there's another one that I just pulled up. Let me see. No, that's not it.
Who is the who's the all-time knockout leader? That's Derek Lewis, right?
So KO TKO wins. Hold on, let me go.
It's got to be Derek. Yeah, it's got to be Derek Lewis.
Weight class all. Now this is all time. Yeah, KO wins. Derek Lewis at 14. Matt Brown still active is behind him at 13. So there's a chance that could get tied up. Everybody else down's out for a while. Been out for a while. Submission wins Charles Oliveira. Yeah, this is where we got into the argument, the Khabib GOAT argument the other day, because we were cementing Khabib's status as not the GOAT. People wanted to comment, and I said, well, don't you think that hey, Anne-Marie, appreciate you guys stopping in. Appreciate you guys supporting Brent. Champ had some issues and scheduling, so we are going to push that back till next week. We apologize. We keep trying to pop in as I see people coming in the comments. We support him too. We appreciate you guys tuning in.
Let's call it what it is. Traffic. We've all been there.
Yeah, traffic, some scheduling stuff, time zone. We're on the East Coast. Of course, he's on the West Coast, so it's some stuff not lining up this week. He apologized. It's not his fault. Going to get him next week. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Yeah, man. So it's just a cool stat, cool metrics. Just different stuff to look up. There's actually one more page here. I'm going to try and pull it up real quick without wasting too much time.
I'll tell you what. Here's my hot take. Joe Pfeiffer, friend of the show, Joe Pfeiffer. He will be within the top 5 on that list of UFC knockouts before his career is said and done. Hot take. I bet you he finished. He's only he's not even 30 yet. That guy throws harder than just about. I mean, he sets his feet, sets his weight down. He throws for knockouts. So I think he already has 3. You know, if you're counting the Contender Series, which counts as a professional fight in the UFC, he already has 3 knockout wins, TKO knockout wins. He'll be on that list before his career is done.
So real quick, just again for the MMA nerds out there, this thing I stumbled upon too. So it's in their same. This is UFCstats.com. This is not through their page. I don't believe it's through them. I'm not sure, but it might, and I think it is. I don't know. It's just not it's not right on the main UFC page that we use to go over the fights. But every event bill back to maybe 28 was the first one. No, I might have all events.
Okay.
Yeah, UFC 19, I think, is as early as it goes to. So back to 99. But you could pull up every event, every fight card. It was nuts. So I just stumbled across these while I was doing some stuff this week. It's kind of a cool thing to know as a fan. You know, you get the insight when you watch the broadcast, but just, you know, talking points, whatever.
Very nice. What do we got? Do we got a UFC card coming up on December 9th, or are they skipping a week again?
I think we're skipping a week. Hold on, I'll pull it back up here. We'll just do the whole show. We'll just take you guys through UFC.com. Show you how user-friendly it is. Let me see here.
I mean, I know December 16th. That's the one I'm looking forward to. My God, I could lose a whole paycheck gambling on that one.
Well, and that's, like I said, that's the quandary we're running into because behind the scenes stuff here, you couldn't make it. So me and my brother are actually going to the 247 show in Pittsburgh and going to be doing some coverage. I got some meeting up with some content creators out there and just getting those guys out some coverage. But anxious, we were invited there by Ryan. We're going, but that's the same night. So I'm determined to run back to the hotel. And it's only 3 hours away. Huh?
Yeah, you'll catch most of the main card.
Yeah, I'll catch most of the main card. I won't be tuning into the prelims next week. But yeah, no, let me look here. No, the 9th was the China card. I'll pull it back up here so you can see it how it's shaping up.
Oh,
I don't even
is that
know.
The one they was that the, they still got
that was the one that was
on,
to
right?
be in China. Yeah, it was to be in China, and it is back at the Apex now. So I would assume
that's right. I do remember reading about that. Song Yadong Monster. Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's the one Anthony Smith is stepping in.
Yeah, that's the Anthony Smith Roundtree. I forgot. I could have sworn that was on in my head, it was on the 16th card. And again, every Chinese, Moroccan, every Asian fighter that could get a visa is on this card at the Apex because it was originally supposed to be at China. Not a lot of names jumping off the screen on the prelims.
Well, when they built that card, it was obviously for the fans over there, you know?
Yeah, this was definitely a pivot by the UFC, and then pivot again when, of course, Anthony Smith had to step in. So
yeah, wait till you re-go through that December 16th card. That's probably one of the best cards of the year.
That should be that.
No, if you go on the UFC website, go to the 16th and just look at the fights top to bottom.
I've been staring at that card since it dropped.
Oh my God.
I've been staring at that card. I'll put one more time. We'll go back to
listen,
UFC.
I could set aside $1,000 alone to bet on that card. Like that's
this Austin. Honestly, this Austin card should be a pay-per-view. Like talent alone. we'll do what we always do, and I'll go all the way down to the bottom of the prelims.
Okay.
Oh, and we're even lucky. See, look, the night we're gonna be in Pittsburgh. I think they said their doors are at 5. Yeah. So I'm gonna miss Andre Feely. Oh man.
I'll tell you what. I just hope it's the smoothest refereeing night of the year. Officials in every sport, basketball, football, they're all starting to make the news for the wrong reasons. You know, even some MMA officials, man. I hope this is one of the smoothest run events. I hope they have all the best guys there. You know, I don't want to see any referee fuckery. You know, no dumb shit.
Well, it is. I think it's at the T-Mobile.
Okay,
it's in Vegas. Andre Feely, Lonzo Menfield, top 15.
No winning a fight for 2 3/4 rounds, and then all of a sudden it gets called a no contest for no dumb shit like that.
We've had enough dumb shit. Brian Kelleher's back. Kind of torn on this one, guys.
Yeah, pop that screen up. Pop that screen up on my end.
So pop her up here.
There we go.
Pop her up here.
Holy cow! Yeah, that's just such a good card.
Andre Feely, like I said, Andre Feely in the prelims. Cody Durden, 2 top 15 guys going in 205. Ariana Lipinski or Lipsky. She's in. Casey O'Neill. Again, I'm torn. Cody Garbrandt. Cody Garbrandt and Brian Kelleher. I'm torn on this one.
I've officiated both. Kelleher, nice little submission thing. I don't think I'm always going to call a spade a spade. I hope he proves me wrong if it's what he wants. But I don't think Cody Garbrandt, obviously I'm not dropping a ton. I don't think he has the skills or ability to be a champion again. But he was a world champion in the UFC. That's something, that's a very short list of people. So,
no.
But Garbrandt's always fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm glad I met him years ago, and just honestly, like, same guy you see, and I'm sure he's gotten even humbler, prior to his loss and having the title and all that. So I'm sure going through that definitely.
Emmett and Giga Chikadze. Whew, that's a good one, man.
That's going to be a banger.
Emmett's old. He's older. The knees aren't what they once were, from what I've read online. Who knows if that's true or not? Whatever. The Topuria loss was a beatdown. Ilya Topuria is fucking amazing. Fighting Volkanovski coming up.
Yeah. His brother actually was it UFC? His brother just popped Fight News too, so I'm excited for that. I just can't. I feel like it might have been the UFC. But maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was somewhere else. Ilya Topuria's little brother is getting ready to do something. I just can't remember what it was. I'll look it up, get back to it. But yeah, this whole card, man, the whole Ian Gary, that guy. Look, here's the deal. Say what you want to say. Say what you want to say. How the guy lives his life is how he lives his life. It is what it is. But
100%.
If this kid can pull this off with the amount of shit that's been piled on him.
Oh, I just want to see him on the. I'd love to see him on the microphone if he knocks Luque out. I'd love to see him on the microphone.
If he knocks Luque out, it's gonna be. You're gonna see a little cocaine Connor come out. Like you're gonna.
Yeah.
People, everything is getting insulted. So either way, though, I'm looking forward. I don't know what I'm looking forward to more, if it's the event itself or the press conference, because you're literally gonna have. If he chooses to come, Ian Gary just foaming at the mouth, Paddy Pimblett and Tony Ferguson. Shavkat's going to sit there and look confused, knowing he's going to knock everybody the fuck out, or if he wants to. Stephen Thompson's going to be Stephen Thompson. You know what I'm saying? These two are fighting over a fucking strap.
Hey, I'll tell you what, for Stephen Thompson to take that fight against Shavkat Rakhmonov, because it was supposed to be somebody else, I thought originally. And then they changed his opponent. They should get Stephen Thompson a wheelbarrow so he can carry around his testicles. And that's a bold ass fight.
And just another proof positive of people arguing. And Stephen Thompson had an issue with a fight being canceled, not wanting to take a fight after a guy missed weight, I think was the argument.
That's what it was. That's the drama I was referring to. He was supposed to fight somebody else. And they said, all right, we'll get you another fight. And they got him Rakhmonov. And Stephen Thompson's, he's 38, 39. He's up there, and he's been pretty vocal. And this is his one last run at a title, much like Bobby Green. You know, it's his one last run at a title. A loss is it. You know, it's win outright to the title, or that's it. If you lose one, you're not going to come back. The UFC, it is a business. They don't want a 42, 41-year-old champion unless you're like on some stellar shit. You know, they don't want some old guy. You know,
well,
they
you
want
got outliers. I mean, you got outliers though. At the end of the day, Stephen Thompson, I feel like, quote me if I'm wrong, I don't know everything. He's been fairly injury free or serious injury free. You know, true martial artist, has competed forever. Like I said, it's Yoel Romero could probably still win a title. Now, there's differences in Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and being a product of the Russian Olympic system in Cuba, but other than that,
well, here's the deal. Here's the deal where I was going with Stephen Thompson. Rachmanov, if he were to win the title in the next year or two, he can probably headline 10 or 12 pay-per-views as the champion, if not more. Stephen Thompson probably only has 2-3 years left in the sport, maybe. Even injury free, you know, most people aren't fighting past 43. Yeah, so and if you're the UFC machine and you're looking to promote a champion for longevity, Stephen Thompson is obviously not your top guy that you would want to win, you know. And dude, they did that everything I'm hearing, everything I've read, everybody that I've talked to, man, and we've seen him choke out Jeff Neal, and like. He made Neil Magny look like an amateur. You know, Neil Magny's a really good fighter. That Rachmanov, he's as tough as advertised. So, and it's a good thing. I'm glad. I'm sure the UFC is glad that Chimaev moved up to 185 because now Rachmanov can do his thing at 170. They didn't want those two guys to fight each other because one was going to take the other's height. You know.
Yeah, why hype one when you can have hype two? I mean, there's also the caveat. Stephen Thompson's a bit of a company man, and I don't say that in any negative fashion, but we all know, I know, you've seen it with your own two eyes. Like when you're a company man, things are a little bit different.
Well, it's like what we always talk about, like the company's vision and stuff like that. If you are a gambler, like I said, I never want to turn this into a gambling show, but if you're a gambler, really look to the UFC's motives as to what they would prefer to happen. You can see it in some of the matchmaking, you know, like we said, what was it?
Chris Kate stopping in with a comment quick. I'm going to cut you off, Bill.
They should have fought each other. Yes. As fans, that's what we wanted.
As fans, of course they should have fought each other last week, this week, do it again next week, Abu Dhabi, wherever. But you got two hype trains that are getting ready to leave the station or have already left the station in parts of the area that you're trying to make inroads in. So it makes sense for Shavkat Stock and Khamzat Stock. I can't believe I said that without fucking it up. Shavkat Stock and Khamzat Stock staying where it is, I think, is my opinion. As fans. Chris said as fans. There's two conversations always to be had. There's the fan perspective. Well, there's three really. There's a fan perspective, the business perspective, and the fighter's perspective. But yeah, that one for sure would have been fireworks.
Well, it's like Bo Nickel and Joe Pyfer. Makes sense experience wise. How with the success they've had in the UFC, like we're never going to see that unless they're fighting for a title or a number one contender spot.
You won't see Joe Pyfer versus Bo Nickel anytime soon.
No, not they're going to let that ride out for a year or two.
And we're still waiting to see what three. And we're saying all this, but we're still waiting to see what 300 looks like.
And the Dana White said for the Sphere over there in Vegas, he wants to throw
Mexican for Independence, the next Noche card, which why make us wait that long? But
he said he wants to throw the greatest mixed martial arts event that's ever been seen. So you're gonna have to come with it, you know.
Well, you have a company that the production value is close to being bar none, and there's how many moving parts?
What
you know what I'm saying? On that level, no, just I'm talking UFC. So you have that many moving parts in every normal production. Then you have the option of like somebody like a Khamzat, coming maybe not a Khamzat, and we'll go Islam. Somebody like an Islam Makhachev walking out, and the whole entire everything that you can see 360 around you makes you feel like you're standing in the mountains of Dagestan. Like the possibilities are endless. So when you take the amount of moving pieces in a regular UFC production and add the amount of possibilities of the Sphere, like the amount of stuff they're going to be able to do there's a like stuff like they preface it with you can experience vertigo in there by the way it's set up in the IMAX style screens. It's crazy.
Dana White has the budget to pull it off. He does. He's got the budget to make the coolest MMA show ever.
Yeah. That kind of segue that into one of my points that I knew we should talk about. Well, not talk about, but it's just been popping off in the MMA news sphere. This co-leader, we're already we're a week removed from Don Davis announcing that the PFL bought Bellator officially. And, I'm so sick of the word co-leaders already that
there's no co-leaders. There's no co-leaders.
There's none.
There's not going to be. It's not the way business works.
We're talking business perspective as fans and as people that always want fighters to be first. I am excited for the options that these guys have. Guys like Brent Primus, who we were going to have one tonight, who again next week, hopefully we get everything tightened up with Brent with scheduling. But I want to know what it's like to, the guy just had a title fight. You're having a title fight for a title that you don't even know what you don't even know if you're going to have a home in a couple weeks at that point. Now, again, it was the worst kept secret in MMA for the last 6 months, but it's still not knowing. It's still like a guy like Brent's dedicated 13 years of his life to one promotion, and people laugh at Bellator, like Bellator gets kind of it's a laughing premise in a lot of conversations, but from a business perspective, they had nobody pumping money into them. Scott Coker at the helm, like what he did with K1 and what he did with Strikeforce, and people that haven't been around long enough to even remember Strikeforce, like Coker's ability to take, and he did this with Strikeforce, and he started doing it with Bellator, which I wanted to ask Brent about that because way back in the day when Brent first started fighting, he was a local fighter. But Scott Coker's always done this, Strikeforce and Bellator. He's taken local fighters and you fill your seats with all your local fighters and get the arena as packed as you can off ticket sales. And then your main event, which is your guys that you bring in from outside the area, is your TV product. Like, I mean, it's the same concept that Dana and these guys were doing as they go around to these different regions, pulling these guys from these regions. That's how Brandon Moreno, got his second time into the UFC because he not flunked out. I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but he flunked out. They came back through that region and they needed a guy in the card, and Brandon Moreno came in and ended up winning a championship the second time around. So it's proof that, the system works. You got guys like OAM that just fought for his second belt in a row and just retired in PFL. They were calling him the Canadian, the Canadian or the second coming of GSP. Like he was the big talk in Canada, and he's retired, and now he flunked out of the UFC before. So it's this co-leader thing. Like we can go in 16 different variants with this conversation, but like the co-leader shit needs to stop. Or even back to the interview with Don Davis when he dropped this news. Oh, the Sphere. We looked at the Sphere long before Dana did. Every chance he gets, he's got to throw. And him doing what he's doing is not going to bother Dana. But if you keep the need to name drop Dana and clout chase Dana at every turn, stay in your lane. Anybody that's been successful anywhere will tell you, don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Worry about what you're doing. And it seems like Don Davis is chalking it up to this metric where we're co-leaders. Our roster is the same as this, and this the same as and that's.
Well, I'll tell you what. He's trying to. I get what he's doing. He's talking about his business. He's talking about the business. He is. He's staying relevant by mentioning the UFC. If I were in his position, I'd kind of want to say UFC as much as possible too. Because that's the letters that are going to grab people's attention. But then, like you said, you have to do your own thing. You have to here's how we're different. Here's why you should watch us. Here's why you should pay attention. Here's why you should get to know our fighters. that kind of stuff. I have no idea what the business plan is for that company or where they're going to go or what they're going to do with stuff. I'm anxious to see what they do. I'm not a business genius at this stuff. I came up on the fighter referee side. I wasn't on the business side. So I'm excited. I want to see what they're going to do with it even.
Well, and the thing, again, you're talking this co-leader claim. Your biggest asset to your product is PFL Europe. Like, that's where you're having your most success. And you just re-upped the deal with ESPN, and you're not including PFL Europe, which I understand there's logistics far beyond my knowledge that go into this, but like, it's kind of like you wouldn't give us that. You're touting all these things. You're touting PFL Africa, PFL, you're touting all these things, and you want us to be excited for the growth of the sport. I'm glad you're there.
If they do that, I understand the United States isn't the whole world. We get trapped inside our head. So do I. And I think, man, if it's not happening in the United States, then it's nothing. The PFL might be better suited. I don't think the UFC has a stranglehold on the European market. Maybe Bellator PFL brand. Maybe they go out there and they say, hey, we're the, UFC is out there in America and the East Coast. We're the European UFC, Don Davis say it again. We're the European UFC. We have the best fighters in Europe. We put on the best fighters in Europe. For the fans in Europe are our main target. That's our fan base. That'd be interesting to see what they said that, because you know what, if they marketed it that way towards me, I'm a typical American, blue collar American. I might be like, oh, okay, let me check out this European fighters that I don't ever get to see. Now the downside of that is Dana White can hit back and say, hey, all those best fighters in Europe, they're over here. I got them. I brought them to you in America. So, but I don't know. Maybe PFL's plan would be to talk about or to corner the European market like one did over in Asia. So,
Chris keeps chiming in again. Thanks, Chris. He always stops in and supports us. We appreciate it. Can we talk about the prevalence of the crossover fight and when we will see boxers come to MMA? Well, my personal opinion, and this is not in any way, shape, or form meant to disrespect people who are fans of the art of boxing. I respect the art as an art. I understand there's complications with it. I understand that there's different things, but oil and water are oil and water. Oil has its purpose. Water has its purpose. Mm-hmm. They're two different sports. The footwork's not the same. Like, there's just so many caveats to it that make it more difficult for a boxer to come into MMA, because a guy like Conor McGregor, just to use an example, bring out the haters, but a guy like Conor McGregor had amateur boxing experience. Mm-hmm. So you can't, a guy like Francis, did a little bit too. So there's levels of competition, and yeah, like a guy like Wilder could come into an MMA cage because he has that conditioning. But as we've seen before with guys like, it didn't end too well for Tony. And then you have like the football aspect of it where, what the hell is his name? The one that got knocked out, the woman beater that
Greg Hardy.
Yeah, Greg Hardy. His name. Greg, as a professional athlete, competed at the highest level. Conditioning, didn't really correlate well. I think Wilder coming over is kind of exciting. I want to see it. I kind of want to see his chicken legs get kicked out from underneath of him. But
even then they're gonna make a hybrid set of rules to make it fair for him. So
yeah, Jake
Paul. My answer to Chris would be on that. There are boxers that have come over to MMA. Maybe not high-profile boxers, maybe not the top boxers in the world, because they're going to stay where they're comfortable at. If you're top 5 boxer in the world, you have a brand and you have a value. And if you go to MMA and some wrestler throws you on your head and beats the hell out of you in 30 seconds, your brand takes a hit. So the top boxers that you're speaking about, they're going to stay right where they're at. And they're getting paid a nice amount of money. There's no reason to go learn wrestling. They stay where they're at in boxing. The boxers that have had the skill set to come to MMA, they have. You don't want to see if Dana White tried to promote a fight with Deontay Wilder versus say John Jones. Let's put it this way: Deontay Wilder has never wrestled. He's never trained in grappling. Cyril Gane has. Cyril Gane is a full-fledged MMA fighter. You saw how his fight went against John Jones, right? It wasn't anything you'd really. I mean, we didn't know at first. Then Dana White put all this money into it, promoted it, and it ended kind of the way a lot of people thought it was going to. Those the odds on that fight. Can you believe it was like a coin flip at one point? Like people with money were like, who's going to win this, Jones or Gane? We saw how it went. If Dana White tried to put X amount of million of dollars into promoting John Jones versus Deontay Wilder, how do you think that's going to go? That fight's going to be over in 30 seconds.
And to add to my rant earlier, these crossover events have their own lane. So when you look at the PFL, no elbows league format, different product than the UFC. UFC is the standard. It's going to stay the standard. I think Dana White took a gamble based on CM Punk's fan base. And again, this is pre-TKO. So when I'm saying this, I'm saying back to the CM Punk days. CM Punk took a chance with CM Punk based on CM Punk's fan base. And I think it's part of the reason why we're seeing Jake Paul fight Q4 in PFL, because if you can box, again, I don't like Jake Paul's antics. The guy is taking this very seriously. He's training to be a combat sports athlete. For whatever he did before, the fuckery before, whatever you don't agree with, at the end of the day, the guy's training and taking it seriously. So I'll leave that there. But Q4 gives Jake Paul a year and a half of jiu-jitsu, and he's already boxed somebody the likes of Tommy Fury and hung with him for the whole fights. So with that being said, depending on who PFL decides to match him up with, I can see Jake Paul winning his MMA debut.
Yeah,
it makes more sense for Jake Paul to win his MMA debut from an aspect of matchmaking for PFL stock. But at the end of the day, a year and a half of jiu-jitsu, when you've already competed in pro boxing multiple times, I'll give the guy a more fair chance than I did if he would have just stepped out of in front of a YouTube camera and did it.
Well, here's the thing too with that. You got to remember, Jake Paul doesn't need to learn how to submit somebody with a triangle or armbar. He needs to learn how to not get taken down, and if he does, get back up. Obviously the stand-up is where Jake Paul is going to want the fight to be no matter what. So he really doesn't have to learn, he has to know some basic jiu-jitsu defense, just enough to get back up. He's not going to – Jake Paul will not be winning his fight by triangle or armbar. If Jake Paul wins his fight, it'll be by KO or TKO, because the guy can hit. He throws hard. He throws a box like – for sure. Yeah, he throws a punch like a professional boxer. So, he's got a year and a half. His brother, Logan, was actually a pretty successful high school wrestler from what I've read. So, I mean –
they both were.
Oh, okay. So he knows what a whizzer is. Yeah, he knows how to stuff the head.
Base. He just needs to learn jiu-jitsu basics. And I mean, there's guys that could be taking a blue belt in a year and a half if they take it seriously enough. Okay. So
so that's why I said he knows how to throw a whizzer. He knows how to stuff the head. He knows how to circle and take somebody's back. He knows. Then that's good. Yeah, no. Listen, the PFL wants Jake Paul to win. When they do this, when they match him with whatever MMA fight they want to. It might be Nate Diaz. I don't know. They want Jake Paul to win. They do. So they're going to match him right. They're going to match him fair. They're not going to toss Jake Paul in against the top 5 in the UFC or the top 5 in the PFL. Sorry. They're not going to toss Jake in the top 5 in the PFL right away. They're going to give him a fair fight, and I can already hear the shit talkers now on the line. And there goes, this is bull crap, blah, 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 blah. This is still going to be Jake Paul's first professional mixed martial arts fight. So the oblique kick. No. Nope. I'm answering Chris's question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I seen it.
Yeah. Do you think they'll click beat? No, I don't. That's just me. I have never, is it painful? Does it hurt? Yes. I've never seen anybody permanently. I would fight Jake Paul, Brent.
I would too for half that bag.
I would actually really try. I would take training serious again.
We'd have to do it at heavyweight because I'm a little bigger than I was when I trained. But
I'd cut down to 2 cases of beer a week if that were the case. I mean, I'd take it serious.
You do the fight on 2 cases of beer just to make it more interesting.
Yeah, I would be entertaining, but no, the oblique kick. No, it's a fight. It's supposed to be the closest thing to, hey, if these two guys, this is what it all started as back at UFC 1. If these two guys were to fight in the street and they were allowed to use any technique they wanted, now I understand to get it regulated, we're not fish hooking, we're not eye gouging, we're not small joint manipulation. There has to be some rules. But this is to be like, hey, if a guy was allowed to use whatever technique he wanted, and this guy was allowed to use whatever technique he wanted, who would win in a fight? And you know what, to be honest with you, I've seen Khalil Roundtree, I believe, ended a fight with an oblique kick to hyperextended the guy's knee, and the guy sat right down and the fight was over. And after the fight, the guy said, no, the kick shouldn't be banned. I should learn how to defend it. It's a fight. Yeah, that's why we tune in.
I did see that the other day. Rampage was griping about it.
Yeah, Rampage was saying about the John Jones kick. No, but here's the thing: if you make an oblique kick illegal, what's next? An armbar? You're still hyperextending. That's just my personal opinion. Maybe some smarter people with medical degrees and stuff, and they'll say it should be banned. But
I mean, for that matter, should you outlaw? Like, I understand the concept and the premise of how close it is to the knee, Chris, but should you ban a low calf kick because it cuts, you bang that nerve enough times and it shuts the whole leg down? Should you ban the round kick that hits the IT band that'll shut a guy's leg? No, it's not. Like, I understand the concept. You hyperextend a guy's knee and it's more serious, but at the end of the day, if he wraps you up in a heel hook, you're in just as much danger as a standing oblique kick to your knee, I believe. And probably more so.
As far as I know, you're right. Rampage that is the highest profile one. Outside of him, I can't really remember. A lot of fighters or a lot of fights where the guy was damaged with an oblique kick. It's like, what do you
look
do?
At the first one in my memory that I look back on, if you remember, I think it was Palomino. Was it Palomino?
Oh, and I will say this for Chris real quick. In the amateurs, the oblique kick is not allowed. It's a professional thing. You know what I mean? So there are things to it, but as far as should it be outlawed, I don't think so. Like I said, there's people a lot smarter than I am, and they make the rules. They have medical.
I would rather get hit with an oblique kick that hyperextends my leg that way a little bit, as opposed to somebody getting a deep heel hook and stuff twisting the way it's not supposed to twist and causing more permanent damage that way. Because you can survive 2 or 3 oblique kicks if they're even a little bit low. One good heel hook at 5 to 6 seconds, man, and your knee is just toast. The threshold, and that's why a lot of schools. I know the first place we ever trained, I was in there as a white belt before I got my blue belt, but heel hooks, like anything below the waist, they were so scared you didn't want. But then I go to another gym with one of your former trained guys out of Blackman, where I got my blue belt, and it was game on. And it changed my whole perspective on stuff. But the threshold of pain to damage, the only place that's really a concern is a heel hook on the knee, because everything else, threshold to pain, you have that difference. Threshold pain to damage threshold is different. Pretty much as soon as you start feeling immense pain in your knee, it's already too late. If you're
it definitely doesn't take 5 to 6 seconds. It's a hell of a lot quicker than that.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like 5.
It's 1 to 2 seconds.
Yeah.
If you don't, you remember Paul Harris from the UFC? The guy was just fucking
taking everybody's legs home with him. Yeah, that guy was a little ridiculous. And when I say 5 to 6 seconds, I mean like in a struggle, 5 to 6 seconds, boom, one nice steady pressure for 5. You're done. It's a wrap. But 2 seconds. Same way the age-old argument of I remember guys coming in from the Gold's gym that was right down the road from where we first started training, and these guys would come in all hungry and thinking that their bench max is amazing and it's all good and like whatever your goals are, that's fine. Yeah, but let me show you the difference between a blood. Oh, I can hold my breath for. I remember one guy looked at us one time. He said, "I ain't worried about that shit. I can hold my breath for 1:45." Guess what, buddy? There's a difference between. Let me introduce you to what a blood choke is, because blood choke only needs 6 seconds.
You got about 5 seconds.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, there's I'm a fan of less rules with everything. I don't like I don't like as many rules as there are in society.
Yeah, I want to see some more standardization on stuff. I want to see red apple ale. Where do you fall on banning Red's apple ale? Chris said.
Where do I fall on banning Red's apple ale? Well, there will be let me get my camera.
Oh no, it's a Miller. He's drinking a Miller there. It's Bill's beer of the week, brought to you by whatever beer Bill's drinking.
Where do you fall on banning Red's apple ale? No,
he thought you were drinking a Reds. He thought you were drinking a Reds.
Oh.
I think that's what he thought. I don't know. I can't speak for it.
No, that's if alternative lifestyles make you happy, then do it. Red's apple ale is good.
I guess
that's fine. Angry Orchard.
Other than that, I think Bobby Green. We kind of covered just the week, anyways. What's going on a little bit of next week.
Yeah, we'll square. We'll get Brent Primus. We'll get him squared away next week.
Yeah, if you're tuning in, we kind of pushed it all week. Brent Primus was going to be here, and with the time zone and scheduling and training, and he was on his way home from ATT, stuck in traffic the last time I talked to him. Not his fault at all.
Yeah, we weren't going to ask him. We weren't going to ask him to call in from his car. I want him to be prepped and ready, comfortable. Not asking some athlete that just got done training to pull over to the side of the road and call in. So.
Never leave it, Brent Colfish. Never leave it to the Brents. No, it wasn't his fault, Brent. We'll stick to blaming stuff on Brent on you. We will. Also, Brent, is Brent still working? Brent's still on the job, right?
Yeah.
Brent, are you working the 247 card December 16th? Will you be out there? Brent should still be watching. We'll see. Brent, if you're gonna be out there, I'm gonna be out there. Let's link up.
I'll tell you what, Brent is one of the most witty, funny guys I know, and if he wasn't working for the commission, he could say a lot more funny shit. He still has to watch what he says.
The president of your Asses fan club.
Yeah, I'm gonna start an OnlyFan.
Just for one member. It's an OnlyFan. It's one cheek.
Only
Brent is working. Brent just worked the PFL event in DC, and that's all he could say about it.
Yeah. But Brent's still tied up with the commission, so he has to be
co-leaders.
He can't get online and be a jackass and say whatever he wants. So.
Like I begged you for years to get online and talk shit with me and correct people.
This is more fun. Correct people 50% of the time I'm in the wrong. I'm just saying shit.
Well, we're gonna have a conversation offline about the use of the word cuck and how we can go about you getting another Facebook ban because we need you to share the content.
Yeah, apparently Facebook thinks I'm bad for bullying and harassment and hate speech and all kinds of
We've all got jammed once or twice on Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg sitting in his hospital bed banning us all.
Yeah.
No, so like I said, guys, hopefully if everything works out well, we will be back with Brent Primus next week. If not in the near future, we do want to get his opinion on everything that's been going on with the Bellator deal and having a new home and anything else he's got going on. So shout out to Brent Primus, and we will talk to him soon. I guess, is it that time, Bill, for you to tell everybody what pissed you off in the world of MMA this week? Do we have a ref rant?
It is. I got one.
All right. As always, what pissed Bill off in the world of combat sports this week? Ref rant presented by Pull No Punches Apparel. And they're still running their Movember deal, guys. One more day, last month in November. Their You Have a Choice and a Chance tee is still $10 of every sale from that goes to Movember, which is a great men's mental health nonprofit focusing on all men's mental health and men's health issues. Without further ado, ref rant with Bill Bookwalter.
All right, we'll go to a fun one here, okay? Now, I'm a fan just like you guys are. I check out the message boards, and so I'm basically exposed to whatever all you guys are commenting on because it comes up in my news feed. And all week, I can't even go on my social media feeds or my Facebook, and it's Ian Gary this, Ian Gary that. Him and his wife do this. He took this wife's name. Y'all care about some weird shit. I'm a fan of MMA. I'm a fan of fighting. I personally think Ian Gary's going to kick the fucking shit out of Vicente Luque. I could be wrong. We'll see. That's why they fight the fight. But the amount of cyberbullying and all kind, it does make for some, lighthearted shit. But these people, they're going on really hard on like Ian Gary and I have no idea what the hell is going on in his life. I have no idea what the hell is the deal with his wife. I have no idea about anything. I don't care about other people's sex lives. I don't care if you are a alternative lifestyle, if you're a homosexual, I don't care what you do, man. Live your life, be happy. Everybody, when they see bullying online, cyberbullying, they're quick to call it out. No, don't bully this. And then I go to the chat rooms and I go to the comments and shit, and I see people lighting Ian Gary up pretty bad. We talk about mental health on the show, and obviously the guys, Garrett and I were talking before the show. We said if Ian Gary wins this fight and he gets the mic put in front of him after the thing, I'm sure it's going to be interesting as hell to hear what he has to say about everything, because I just read before the show that he posted, I believe it was "fuck the noise" on Twitter, and then blocked all comments so people couldn't be done. But people are bullying this guy pretty bad, and I would never want to see anybody, hurt themselves or hurt anyone else because they were bullied by, because what's the first thing that happens when somebody hurts themselves over some dumb shit like this? Then they say, "Oh my God, putting into cyberbullying, putting into harassment and this shit." And I should take some of my own medicine because I get a little too loud with the mouth too. Christy's seen some of my comments and shit like that. I even get a little loose with the mouth. So my ref rant this week is people are different. I know y'all are into some weird shit. I've been around the block once or two in my life. Everybody's into some weird shit. Be kind. Don't cyberbully people. You wouldn't want somebody to do something bad to themselves, and then after the fact, then you chime in that like, "Oh man, how could this happen?" And well, you dickhead, you're part of the problem. So leave Ian Gary alone. Keep it to MMA. Who cares what him and his wife do in their own private life? I don't even know what the fuck's going on with them because I haven't decided to invest that much time in my life to care. So
it's all jokes on the internet. Yeah. I've been, just to add to your point, I've posted some shit. But at the end of the day, I'll post shit about the PFL, but the first comment I make is, I'm glad there's options for the fighters.
Yeah.
Stop with the co-leadership. But with the Ian Gary shit, look, different strokes for different folks, and nobody knows where your nose goes when the door is closed unless you tell them. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
People, let them be. If you care, the people that care about Ian Gary's wife's last name and who's living in his house, it's all fun to joke around and make pit poke fun. But when you're viciously talking to people, you're these fucks that don't get off the couch. You're these fucks that and I heard this week, a little tidbit for everybody, a network, Tom DeBlas, shout out to Tom DeBlas in Jersey. He has an active bully program where he's reaching out to people that he's seen bullying, getting them training. And shout out to him for that. But a network reached out to Tom DeBlas this week about bringing bully beatdown back. I want to do this so bad. I want to find these fucking cocksuckers that are on the internet.
The problem is the bullies are never going to get in the cage and do that shit. They just
exactly. Shit. But I'd be fine if we shot a whole season's worth of content. And if I had the means, the capital to do it, I'd do it myself. But I would be surprised if we shot a whole season of content and if you couldn't get one of these fucking keyboard gremlins to come out from behind the screen and actually show up. I'm talking 6 months to train. You ain't got the fucking heart to show up live from your mom's basement. You want to comment on the internet. So much I respect. And then he got more shit.
I don't know how much of it was real, how much of it was fake. I love the bully beatdown. Shit, I love that shit. Seeing somebody who's never trained, who doesn't know how to fight, just thinks they're tough, step in there and go against somebody who does. I love that fucking show. I wish Tom would bring that back. Yeah, shout out Tom. I refereed Tom back at Bellator against Mike Whistle years ago. Tom's a good dude, man.
Oh, yeah, no problem, Chris, man. We appreciate you stopping in and commenting on the content, man. We just we got a good nation of people coming up that we're starting to build that really appreciate a decent MMA conversation and just want to hang and talk. And you're one of them. We one of the very first members of Fight Show Nation. As I was told, we're building a nation the other day of decent commentary where you don't have to worry about being called a casual or a cuck unless you tip Bill off.
Yeah, don't call people casuals.
No. So we appreciate you guys like you, Daniel Ward, Matt Benson, just guys that are interacting every week with the content on Facebook. Like my Facebook content, if you can't get me on Facebook, it's been crazy. I hit like 35 million impressions and like 2 million engagements. So it's been blowing up. We got some behind the scenes stuff coming, working on some stuff diligently every day, show sponsors. We got contests coming up. We got all kinds of stuff. So we appreciate each and every one of you guys like Chris. We hope you tune in every week. Again, sorry about the confusion with Brent Primus. Scheduling stuff happens, especially with these guys. The fight life takes preference over everything else sometimes. So we get it.
For sure. That's why we got Jared Gordon on the week after his fight, because we figured he was taking a week or two off before he starts training for the next one, you know?
And you know what? We're working on some other stuff too. I could say that Bill is the plug when it comes to knowing a lot more people than I do. I know some people, but Bill knows some people.
I got some good chicks.
To lock these people in, it's you try and get them after this bit of news, and another bit of news drops, and another bit of news, and there's an event. And so just stay tuned, guys. We appreciate you. Fight Show episode 10. We are out.
All right, Garrett. See you, buddy.
See you, bud. See you guys next week.